guys, it's Stephanie from Raven and Blots, and today I'm going to be talking about my September wrap up. What even was life in September, apparently, because I read so many books and I had no clue I was going to read this many. I actually didn't even realize I read this many until I think it was like Sunday, and I was like, oh my goodness, my bookshelf that is my red shelf has literally taken over 2 shelves now. This is crazy because I have a strict rule that my books don't go on my shelf until I've actually read them, and I have a new shelf, so it's like that's my to be read shelf. So it was insane and crazy. Also, RYBSAT ended up this on the 29th. It was the 22nd through the 29th, and so I'm going to do my wrap up for that first, and then I'm going to talk about the rest of the books I read. Guys, there are a lot, so I'm so sorry, so let's dive in. Alright, for RYBSAT, I read Surprised by Joy by C.S. Lewis. This is the autobiography of C.S. Lewis, talking about how he came to Christianity and his, pretty much his young days in life and stuff. C.S. Lewis is such a great thinker, guys. Like, I read his books and I'm just like, whoa, this man thought. And so I really enjoyed this book. It was really a good read. I mean, it probably wasn't going to be for everybody, but it was definitely a very good read. I'd probably give it a 4-star, just because of some of the content that he talked about. I didn't think it was probably appropriate for him to talk about, but he did, and he's C.S. Lewis, so he can do what he wants. Alright, next one that I read for RYBSAT is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave this a 4-star as well. This was an interesting book. It basically followed a girl who made one minute choice and the 2 parallel lives that followed it. Some of it was really, I didn't really care for, and other parts of it were really good. I didn't like the fact that they seemed to be so similar in the parallel lives, because I felt like if you're going to make one minute choice that's going to change everything, it probably would change a lot of how the ending ended up. But it was a really cute read. It reminded me of the Gwyneth Paltrow Sliding Glass Doors, or Sliding Doors, or wherever that movie was. So it was cute. Worth a read, at least. The next one that I read for RYBSAT was The Lost Hero, and this is by Rick Riordan. And I'm finally getting into the Heroes of Olympus series with this book, guys. So excited. Loved this book. I loved the idea of finding a lost hero and the Greek and the Roman gods, and it was just really fun. I really enjoyed this. And then I went straight on to Son of Neptune, also by Rick Riordan. I'm trying to pace myself because I have Mark of Athena and then the House of Hades, and the last one are supposed to be coming from Book Depository. I don't want to start the 3rd one and need it immediately. This one ended very well, so I didn't have to like immediately go to the 2nd one or the 3rd one, but it was really good. Percy, this one follows Percy, and he's in the Rome camp, and it's really interesting because, of course, Percy makes friends wherever he goes because Percy's popular, but I have to say I wish I would have found the Percy Jackson series earlier, because I think I would have liked it better than Harry Potter. I know that sounds sacrilegious out here, but I really enjoyed the Percy Jackson series, and I only got into it this year. And this is the 2nd series with Percy Jackson, and I do have to say Rick Riordan is quickly becoming one of my most auto-buy authors, because I really do enjoy a lot of his stuff. I enjoy his detail that he does. These books are ginormous, guys, so they took a while to get into. The next one I read for RYBSAT was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, of course by J.K. Rowling. And this is for the Little Book Owl HP read-along that's happening on Instagram. So I was like, hey, I should read the 2nd one. Whiz through I have to say, I'm not really a fan of the 2nd one. The 2nd one only rates a 4-star for me because I don't really care for Dobby, and everybody loves Dobby, and I just don't like Dobby. That's just me, though, so you know. The next one I read for RYBSAT, I was busy on RYBSAT, was Turn Around God by Charlotte Gamble. This is a nonfiction talking about the power of God in your life and how it will turn around any situation, but you have to be willing to follow him even if it doesn't make sense. So really enjoyed this book. This was actually a reread for me, but I pulled it out of my TBR jar, so It's like, yeah, I'll read that. And then the next one I read for RYBSAT was Chasing God by Angie Smith. And this one is one talking about pursuing a relationship with God and how a lot of Christians are kind of doing it wrong because we're trying to place God in the parts that make sense to us instead of just letting him be God and us following him. So I really, really love Angie Smith's writing. I feel like it's really great and it just so good. It's really refreshing and it was like really thin. So I went through that. Okay, so for RYBSAT, I did 7 books. So basically I did 1 book for each day that RYBSAT was in, and that was really crazy because I didn't think I read that much, but apparently I did. So now we have just the rest of the books that I read during the month of September, and the first one that I've got is Quiet, and this is The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. This basically talks about introverts. Almost said internet. About introverts and how we really think and study and learn and listen and grow and develop and do a lot of different things that people don't expect, especially if they're not introverts. They don't really know how we deal it. And I liked it, but it seemed a little dry at points, and some of the parts I was just like, you can't really say that all introverts do that because not all introverts do that. But she did have quite a few good points, such as camouflage introverts and also introverts who pretend to be extroverts so that they're liked more, because I kind of feel like there are a lot of introverts who do that. And so yeah, but it was a 3.5. I really enjoyed it though. I probably would read it again because there was a lot of stuff in there that I liked. So, you know. The next one is The Irish Country Village. Yes, Village by Patrick Taylor, and this is the second in the Irish Country Doctor series. I'm really liking this series, guys. It's a historical fiction set in the 1960s in the valley of Ballybuckyboo, following a young Dr. Barry Lavardi, I believe his name is. I can't pronounce it. And they pronounce it different in the book because they kind of, yeah, it's an Irish thing, and it's set in Ireland, and I absolutely love it. It kind of reminds me of James Herriot and his way of writing, so I do enjoy that kind of thing. There are just some parts in there that get kind of graphic because he's a doctor and he just kind of talks about this stuff like randomly, and Patrick Taylor apparently is a retired MD, which is also part of the reason why he talks about some of this stuff, and I'm like, oh dude, don't do that. So I did enjoy this one though. I gave it a 4-star because it was a good read. I thought it was a little bit better than the first one because the first one seemed to be setting up a lot of stuff, whereas the second one kind of had a little more action. So the next one I read was The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules, and this is by Katharina Engelman Sunderberg. And this one was originally written in Swedish and translated by Ray Bradbury into English, and it's hilarious. You really can tell, though, in some parts that it was written in a foreign language because they talk about some stuff and you just want to say, okay. So they do have that, but I thought it was hilarious. It deals with 5 senior citizens who break out of their nursing home and go and rob a museum. And I honestly was cracking up during half of this book. So I actually ordered the sequel. Can't wait for it to get here. But I really did enjoy this book. It was really a good, funny, lighthearted read. It wasn't something that I really had to think a lot on. It's huge, but it's really funny, and I really thought it was worth it. So, especially since it was kind of an impulse buy. I didn't even know anything about it, but it was like on my book depository wish list because of the cover. The cover's purple. But I thought it sounded interesting and kind of sounded like a Miss Marple sort of thing. And so I bought it, and I really actually enjoyed it. The next one on my pile is Everything, Everything by Nicole Yoon, and I was really excited about this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I loved the style of this book. I felt like it was really unique, really original. However, there was one point in the story where I felt like it really didn't go with the character that had been built and the characters that had been introduced. I really didn't feel like this point really added to the story, and I really didn't feel like this point was needed in the story. So that's why it's not a solid 5, because I really was disappointed in that point Mainly because it's like if you're going to introduce a character who is unique, you're gonna need to not be like every other YA out there. But it was really worth a read. I really did enjoy it. It was just at one point that I was like, no, you don't need to do that. So 4.5 for this. It was definitely a good read. That was also one that actually came out in September, so I was super excited about that. The next one for the Little Book Owl HP read along that is going on Instagram is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Yeah, I read Chambers of Secrets for RYBSAT, that's right. But I read the first one, The Sorcerer's Stone, in the beginning of the month, obviously, and this one gets a 5 because it's Harry Potter, and I really enjoyed this first one. Like, I like the world building, and I like the fact that J.K. Rowling does the show, not tell, a lot of times. So, plus there's a lot of information in there, and look at the cover. But yeah, that one actually does get a 5-star because it is the first one. I love the first one. It's one of my favorite ones in the series. So the next one that I have is Vengeance Road, and this is by Erin Bowman, and I loved this book. It's a Western, and it also is set around the age of the Gold Rush, so it's kind of fun to read, and it's a pretty cover. But it basically deals with a young girl who wants to get revenge on a gang that killed her father. And as she's going along, she finds out a lot of stuff about her father and about her mother that weren't unfortunately told to her when she was younger. So she now is like trying to figure out what's going on. And it's just a really good read. It's a fast-paced read, that's for sure. I rated this a 4.5. The main reason I rated it a 4.5, there were a couple reasons actually. Couple of the plot points I was just like, don't think that would actually happen. And then also the main character annoyed me because she talked in really poor English. So it was like get and ain't and wain't and all this stuff. And she was the only one in the entire book that talked like that. So it was really annoying because you could kind of like see that the author was trying to make it like a Western, but you can make it a Western and not have to do the poor English. Or if you're going to do poor English, do it with everybody and not just the main character. But that was the only like really main thing that I focused on because I was just like, oh, I hate how she's talking. But after like 2 chapters, you really don't notice it. But it was a really good book. I really enjoyed this book. I read it, and this was also my uppercase box of the month book. So I loved this book. It was really good. So far, uppercase has been like spot on every single book that they've given me. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, this one was good. 4.5. The next one, guys, if you know me at all, obligatory reference to Jacoby. Okay? There's that obligatory reference. Here's Beastly Bones, which is by William Ritter. It's just the second one in the Jacoby series. Oh my goodness, you guys need to buy this book. I said that all in one breath, and it's really fun. But no, seriously, this book is fantastic. It's the second one in the Jacoby series. It takes off about 3 to 4 weeks after the first one ends. So you literally you can read it, and you can read the first one and then go right into this one and not really have like too much that you're missing or too much that you're like wanting or needing. And I loved this book so much. It was so great, so awesome. If you're thinking of reading this book, seriously, you need to read Jacoby first. But if you're thinking of reading this series, think Supernatural meets Sherlock meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer set in the 1900s in America, and you will have Jacoby because it's awesome. It really is fantastic. I love it. And it's just, and you can tell that how he set it up. There's going to be another one, and I'm so excited because I'm like, I read Jacoby in 2015, and it only came out, I think, in Christmas of 2014. And then I read this one, and it's fantastic. This one's actually a little bit thicker than the first one. But guys, you need to read this book. You need to read the series. It's my bae. I love that series. And the last book that I read for September, Simply Tuesday by Emily P. Freeman. And I love her writing. This is a nonfiction talking about how to stop chasing the American dream and stop building skyscrapers, and to start really building bridges and building benches where people can rest and be known. And I love it. And she talks about how be great in the small things and how sometimes people miss the greatness in the small things because they're so focused on the big things. And so I just really enjoyed this book. I love this book. It's one of my new favorites of hers, and I love all of her writing. She wrote Grace for the Good Girl, and she also wrote well, I know she wrote Grace for the Good Girl. Oh, A Million Different Ways. And I love her writing. I think it's just a fantastic style, and she's very honest and open about a lot of things. So really, really enjoyed her stuff. You need to read this book because it's amazing. And I highlighted so much in there, guys. It's just so good. I love this book. All right, guys. So that was my September wrap-up. So to recap, for RYBSAT, I read 7 books. Oh my goodness. And then, in the rest of the month, oh my goodness, I read a total, sorry, I was counting, that's why I was being weird. I read a total of 15 books, guys. Stop it! Okay, I read a total of 15 books. Oh my goodness, this was like the biggest book reading month I've had since January. So this is like crazy, guys. Crazy! So that is my September wrap up. I just hit my camera tripod and I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Oh, I did it again. Sorry. I'm trying to set these down so they don't like fall on me because that would be really bad. Okay, so that was my September wrap up. I read 15 books for the month of September. I don't know how I did that, guys. It's insane. It's crazy. I'm so excited though. Yay! My October TBR video will be coming probably on Sunday, maybe Monday, because I kind of have to think of what I'm going to be reading this month. I haven't even discussed it yet with myself. I haven't even said, hey, what would you like to read? So I'm going to be reading that. I know I'm going to be reading books 3 and 4 of the Harry Potter series. But besides that, I have no idea. I'm also doing the Read 5 Buy 1 book buying ban that a lot of readers seem to be doing. Mainly because if you saw my September book haul, which was my last video, you will know why, because I bought an insane amount of books during September. So yeah, I need to kind of pace myself, especially since Christmas is coming and I'll want to buy a lot more books in Christmas. So that's my thing. I'm gonna read 5 before I buy 1, and hopefully they'll make me more selective or just make me read really fast. Yeah, it could be either one. So anyway, guys, I hope you have an amazing night and keep reading, you awesome dragons, you. Bye!